On a quiet Friday morning in Dillingham, Alaska, the town awoke to what seemed like any other peaceful day. The sun rose slowly over the horizon, casting a gentle light on the familiar streets and homes nestled along the bay. Life in this remote community often moves at a slower pace, with neighbors greeting each other and the sounds of nature filling the air. But that morning tragedy struck when a small plane crashed at the local airport, shattering the calm and halting the town's vital air traffic. Sirens echoed across the quiet landscape as emergency crews rushed to the scene, their presence a stark contrast to the usual tranquility. The crash immediately closed Dillingham Airport, a critical hub for the Bristol Bay region, disrupting flights and silencing the usual bustle. The terminal, once filled with travelers and anticipation, now stood empty and still, its doors closed to the outside world. In a place where air travel is a lifeline, the shutdown's impact was deeply felt, affecting medical care, supplies, and the local economy. Essential goods and urgent medical evacuations were suddenly delayed, highlighting just how dependent Dillingham is on its small airport for survival and connection. The pilot, the only person on board, lost his life, a loss that reverberated through the close-knit community. For many, he was more than just a pilot. He was a neighbor, a friend, and a familiar face who had safely carried countless passengers over the years. In Dillingham, where everyone knows each other, the tragedy was personal and profound. Families gathered to comfort one another, sharing stories and memories, united in their grief and support. News of the crash spread quickly, drawing attention statewide to the unique risks of flying in Alaska's vast, rugged terrain. Reporters arrived to cover the story, and pilots across the region paused to reflect on the challenges they face every day. Even the most skilled pilots face unpredictable dangers here, and this incident became a sobering reminder of aviation's risks. Weather can change in an instant, and the landscape offers few second chances, making every flight a test of skill and courage. The community was left in mourning, reflecting on the essential yet perilous role of flight in Alaskan life. As candles flickered in the evening and the flag flew at half-mast, Dillingham came together, honoring the memory of one of their own and facing the future with resilience and hope. The crash unfolded at Dillingham Airport, a lifeline for the region, just after 9 a.m. This small airport, nestled in the remote Alaskan landscape, is more than just a travel hub. It's a vital artery for the community, connecting people and delivering supplies that are essential for daily life. Instead of the usual morning bustle, the runway became a scene of emergency as first responders arrived to find the wreckage. Sirens echoed across the tarmac, and the sense of urgency was palpable as crews rushed to assess the situation and provide aid to anyone who might have survived. The plane had crashed moments after takeoff, coming down abruptly on the runway. Debris was scattered across the asphalt, a stark contrast to the calm that usually defines the early hours at Dillingham. Emergency crews worked quickly, but the airport was forced to shut down, suspending all air traffic and delaying essential goods. For a community so dependent on air travel, even a brief closure can have far-reaching consequences, affecting everything from medical supplies to mail delivery. The closed runway, normally a symbol of connection, now stood as a stark reminder of the tragedy. The sight of police tape and flashing lights was a jarring interruption to the airport's usual rhythm. Investigators faced a unique situation. The crash site was accessible, but the airport's closure rippled through the community. Every hour the airport remained closed, the impact grew, underscoring just how critical this facility is to the region's well-being. Clearing the runway and investigating thoroughly became the top priority, balancing the need for answers with the urgency to restore vital transport links. Teams worked methodically, documenting every detail, knowing that the community was counting on them. The silence over the airfield was heavy, filled with unanswered questions. The usual sounds of engines and voices were replaced by an uneasy stillness as everyone waited for news. The community waited anxiously for the airport to reopen and for answers to emerge. For many, the airport is a lifeline, and its closure was felt deeply, a reminder of both the fragility and resilience of life in Alaska. The pilot was identified as John Lansidel, a 33-year-old Dillingham resident and respected wildlife biologist. John's work with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game took him deep into the wilderness, monitoring and protecting the region's wildlife. His passion for Alaska's natural world was evident to all who knew him, and his loss was felt by colleagues, friends, and the scientific community. Biologists like John are vital to Alaska's environmental stewardship, and his absence leaves a void in conservation efforts. Beyond his profession, John was a beloved member of Dillingham, known for his dedication and friendship. His sudden death was a personal blow to many, marking a tragic loss for both the community and the state. John's life was a testament to his love for Alaska's wild places and the people who call it home. His legacy will endure in the landscapes and wildlife he worked so hard to protect. The aircraft was a Piper J3 C-65 Cub, a classic bush plane favored in Alaska for its reliability and ruggedness. On the morning of the crash, John was flying solo on what was likely a short, routine flight from Dillingham Airport. Weather conditions were reported as generally favorable, making the sudden crash after takeoff all the more shocking. Early investigation revealed some confusion over the plane's registration, but authorities quickly clarified ownership and focused on the facts. The Piper Cub's simplicity means it lacks black boxes, so investigators must rely on physical evidence, maintenance records, and witness accounts. The cause of the crash remains unknown, but the investigation will be meticulous. Planes like the Cub are essential in Alaska, but their vulnerability during takeoff and landing is well known. The tragedy highlights the risks faced by even experienced pilots in remote regions. The community and investigators alike are determined to find answers. The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, took charge of the investigation, aiming to uncover the cause and prevent future tragedies. Led by Alaska Region Chief Clint Johnson, the team arrived in Dillingham to examine the wreckage and document every detail. They interviewed first responders and witnesses, piecing together the final moments of the flight. The investigation extends beyond the crash site, reviewing the aircraft's maintenance, the pilot's records, and weather conditions. NTSB investigations are thorough and can take months or even a year to complete. A preliminary report will be released soon, but definitive answers will take time. For Dillingham and John's loved ones, the wait for closure is difficult. The process is painstaking, but it's essential for understanding what went wrong. The hope is that lessons learned will improve aviation safety for all Alaskans. John Lansdale's death sent shockwaves through Dillingham and across Alaska. The news spread quickly, leaving many in disbelief and sorrow. In a place where everyone knows each other, the loss felt deeply personal, touching families, friends, and neighbors alike. Tributes poured in from colleagues, friends, and state leaders, each sharing stories of John's kindness, his unwavering commitment, and the positive influence he had on so many lives. They honored his dedication to wildlife, recalling his tireless efforts to protect Alaska's natural beauty and the creatures that call it home. His impact on the community was profound, inspiring others to care for the land and for each other. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game described him as a beloved colleague, someone whose passion and expertise shaped their work and brought people together. His work was vital to the state's mission, and his absence is felt in every project and every conversation about conservation. Local and state officials, including Speaker Bryce Edgman, spoke of John's legacy and the void left behind. Governor Mike Dunleavy and other leaders expressed their condolences, recognizing the far-reaching impact of John's work and the sorrow felt across Alaska. The depth of the loss was visible everywhere, from lowered flags to quiet gatherings, reminding everyone of how much John meant to this place. The tragedy also brought to mind other recent aviation accidents, a sobering reminder of the dangers faced by those living and working in Alaska's remote regions. It underscored the risks of life in Alaska, where travel often means braving unpredictable weather and challenging terrain. Each incident is a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment with loved ones. It's also a call to respect both nature and flight, and to honor those who take on these risks in service of their communities. In Dillingham, the community rallied together, supporting one another through grief, and finding comfort in shared memories and collective strength. They gathered to share stories of John, celebrating his life and the joy he brought to those around him. The mourning process is ongoing, with each day bringing new waves of emotion and remembrance. But the bonds of this remote town are strong, forged by shared hardship and a deep sense of belonging. John's legacy is felt in the resilience of his friends and neighbors, and in the determination to move forward together. The unity of those he left behind is a testament to the life he lived and the love he inspired. His life and work will be remembered for years to come, a lasting influence on Dillingham and all of Alaska. The crash of July 25, 2025 claimed the life of John Lansdale and temporarily closed Dillingham's vital airport. The NTSB's investigation is underway, with a preliminary report expected soon, but final answers will take time. The community and state leaders have responded with profound sadness and support, honoring John's contributions to wildlife conservation. The tragedy has highlighted both the necessity and the risks of aviation in Alaska. As Dillingham begins to heal, John's memory endures. In the wild places he loved and the people he inspired. The hope is that the investigation will yield lessons to improve safety and prevent future loss. Until then, the community stands together, united in grief and remembrance. We offer our deepest respects to John Lansidell and condolences to all who mourn him.